Hi, I'm Daniel and this is Ashville. Today we're fitting a new industrial stick to our £500,000 60-ton material handler. We need a longer stick. Now we're talking. When you solve one problem, you could create another. He's going to have to learn how to reuse this machine. It could derail the wagons. Oh, look at that. We needed to find a solution. Does it reach? 3 years ago, we moved into this yard and started importing aggregate by rail. Now, many other yards like this have a bottom discharge unit, which basically means wagons pull over a hopper, the bottom of the wagon opens up, empties the material into the hopper, and a conveyor belt takes it to the storage bays. Now, we can't do that here, so I had to purchase a material handler. Hey, look at the size of that. Because of the limited space in this yard, we have a primary and a secondary line. Now, the primary line has 18 wagons and the secondary line has 6 wagons, which is 24 in total. When I first looked at a machine, I wanted an LH60, but I provided Liebherr with the dimensions of this yard and they said we wouldn't be able to safely offload. So we ordered an LH60, fully loaded, 2 buckets, Bluetooth, aircon, and we wrapped it in black. It took 9 months to build, but unfortunately, when it arrived in the yard, it couldn't reach the bottom of the wagons on the secondary line. So hopefully, this is the solution. Now, I'm a business owner. However, I'm also a lover of machines, and the LH60 is the pride of our fleet, so it is really important to me to get this right. Luckily, we have a fantastic relationship with GB Rail Freight, who, while we were sorting this out, they agreed to shunt the trains backwards and forwards. Previously, to accommodate the shorter arm, we would need to park 6 wagons on the secondary line. We then uncouple, bring the remaining wagons onto the primary line, get these offloaded, then head back out of the yard and reverse onto the secondary line. Recouple the 6 wagons, pull forward, and then reverse back into the primary line for offload. But we both agreed that that wasn't a long-term solution and it took too long to offload. Plus, when Network Rail took possession of the line just outside the yard for maintenance works, it meant we couldn't offload the 6 wagons on the secondary line because we couldn't shunt backwards and forwards. We began to work closely with Liebherr after sales and the technical department. We needed to find a solution. So after 18 months of site visits, taking measurements, watching the train offload and technical drawings, we came to a solution. And that was replacing the existing 3.5 meter stick with a new industrial 7.3 meter one. So the new 7.3 meter industrial stick was ordered and arrived at Liebherr in Biggleswade 2 months ago. On close inspection, we realized that the new stick was slightly different. It had a hydraulic hitch which would need modification. Now, ours is an existing hanging and bracket system, which means when we want to change the bucket, we just knock out the pin. The new stick has hydraulic pins, which means they're built in already. So a new bracket had to be manufactured to suit the new dimensions and application. When all the work was done, the stick was wrapped in black and loaded onto this lorry and delivered to the yard this morning. I am told the old stick is going back to Liebherr in Biggleswade and will go into storage. Now it's Friday morning and it's 8 o'clock. We have a train coming in on Monday morning at 6:30 a.m. Now, while that seems like a lot of time, if towards the end of the day there's parts that are needed to fix this that aren't in the country, which have to be imported, that's going to be a real problem. We could put the stick on and it still doesn't reach the secondary line, but we won't be able to test that till the train is actually here. We could put the stick on and then we have a problem offloading the first line. But one thing's for sure, our operator Flo, he's going to have to learn how to reuse this machine because it's going to feel completely different. You can see the significant change between the size of this one and the size of that one. What I'm most worried about is when we reach over the first line into the secondary line and we get a full bucket full of material. When it's fully extended, I hope that the counterbalance on this is enough that this machine stays firmly on the ground and the back of it doesn't start to lift, because if it does start to lift, it's unsafe and it could derail the wagons on the primary line. The suspension has been raised on the truck and it's fully extended, sitting over the flatbed. What we're going to do here is we're going to knock out the pins on the ram. Now the ram should fall down and sit on the flatbed. If not, you've got those brackets on either side to support the ram. Then we're going to knock out the main stick pin. Once that's done, we should be able to take this arm off, disconnect any hydraulics which are left, and put it safely on the flatbed.
Just go up and we'll walk it round and down.
With the pins out and the hydraulics disconnected, we have to put the old stick down safely on the ground and swap it with the new 7.3 meter arm. That's the main stick pin back in. Now they have to carefully line up for the ram pins. Looks like the new 7.3 meter stick has been attached successfully. Hydraulics are working. In. And out. Let's get the old stick on the flatbed and out of here. This is the new location of our camera. Hopefully it's not going to get damaged and it can still see exactly what's going on inside the wagons. Now, as this has had some adaptations, the guys are just using the computers to program. There's one sensor and two solenoids, and they basically have to tell the master that this is here, but now there's also a quick hitch, so they need to program it to tell it exactly what's going on so it works. The new hanger bracket is on. Now, at the time we go to change a bucket, we're always under pressure and we need it done as quickly as possible. So we have to have one of these made and attached to the other bucket so we can do a quick switch. Taking a closer look, I can see that this has all the grease points on it already. These pins on either side are going to click in. Then once we attach, they're going to push out. You'll be able to do that from inside the cab on the stick once we get it working. Now this should speed up the time when we are switching buckets. Just moving it into place here. There we go, nice and steady. We're in place, and here we go with a hydraulic hitch. Oh, look at that. Now, we put the bucket back on its side and we can connect up all the hydraulics. So the bucket is now attached to the new 7.3 meter industrial stick. Now, Flo is the operator who uses the machine, so they're just going through the controls now to work out how to use this, and we're off. Friday evening, 5 p.m. and the machine is ready before dark, but the real test will be on Monday morning at 6:30 a.m. The train due for Monday morning was cancelled. Here we are now a few weeks later. This is the first train that's come in, and there are 6 loaded wagons going onto the secondary line. It's time to uncouple the train and leave the 6 wagons here. Now there are a couple of things that can happen. We've been testing the machine while Flo has been familiarising himself. He said when he grabbed fully extended, the back of the machine began to lift, and that was with no material in the bucket. So Flo is now going to have to position himself in the main offload area here and see if when he extends, oh, here we go, the moment of truth. Does it reach? Does it reach? It does. Here we go. Let's take a bucket of material. At the moment, it looks like we have no lift in the back of the machine. We don't have anything on the primary line, so we're not reaching over the top of it. Test number 1 is done. The primary line is now being filled. But what Flo is doing, he said that when he is this far away, he cannot slew properly. So he's tracking the machine and he's coming that bit closer to try and reach over this line, but still have enough space to slew. And next test will be, can we get to the bottom of the wagon and can we clean it out? So we can reach the secondary line safely by grabbing over the primary line. And as we can see at the moment, the back of the machine is not lifting, irrespective of how much material is in the bucket. But once we work our way down and we grab the material out, we need to see if we can drop the bucket on the bottom of the wagon, sweep it across to clean out all the remaining debris. Wagon number 1 on the secondary line successfully offloaded. We have now tracked down a bit and we've moved on to wagon number 2. When you solve one problem, you could create another. So we can reach the secondary line, but that now means with the longer arm, Flo has to change the position where he grabs off the primary line so he can reach the bottom. The longer arm now means that the bucket is going to be a lot closer to the cab and the arm is going to be further in the air. And at long last, the LH60 with its new arm is fit for purpose. Now we are going to need to shunt the train a lot less, and this will mean we save between 30 minutes and 45 minutes on each offload. On average, with 3 trains a week, we could save nearly 100 hours in offload time per year. We're less likely to be fined, and GB Rail Freight will burn less diesel with the locomotive shunting backwards and forwards, meaning both of us have reduced our impact on the local environment with our business activities. I want to thank Liebherr for all their help and support, and GB Rail Freight for working with us through a challenging period and being accommodating. This shows just how important business relationships are. Thanks for watching, and let us know what you think of our even bigger LH60. Click here for the Ashville website. Click here to subscribe to our channel. Click here to see a video where we brought the LH60 to the yard, and click here to see a full train offload before we put the new arm on the LH60.